86 Charles is brought to you by Amazon. Do these poor chaps a solid and go to 86charles.com before you shop on Amazon this holiday season. Click on the Amazon link and you can really help us all out. I'm really hoping for an update this year, so I can better pronounce the word Derby. Thank you and happy Festivus.
Animal farming is the single biggest environmental threat in the world today, given the enormous amounts of land and water needed.
Hi, this is Charles.
You are full of bullshit, my friend. I will sue you for everything you have. I will sue your ass.
Welcome to 86 Charles, with your hosts John Darby and Travis Spencer.
And with that, welcome to 86 Charles. Travis Spencer, what's up, dude?
John Darby, it's been too long, my friend. Too long. How the hell are you?
I wanted to sing that Bare Naked Lady song, that 1 week song.
It's been 2 weeks since you looked at me.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
You get it.
Something
That was a terrible setup on my part. Thank you for
something
jumping in
with
there.
Chinese chicken. That's all I really know.
Yeah, something to something. The Chinese
The lights
chicken,
on.
watching X-Files. You
Great
get it.
track. Great track. John, tell me, first of all, let's jump right in. What is this? You were very vague in the opening. I don't know exactly what you're talking about.
I know.
Yeah. So
That was on purpose.
raising animals. We've all seen the documentaries now. Cowspiracy, the Food Inc. We know it's it's obviously a huge thing too.
We live in a giant slaughterhouse, dude.
So what are we talking about? Break it down.
So this is a specific product, but there's also others. Like, this is not the only one of its kind, but this is probably the newest, hottest, maybe best. I don't know from experience. And tell your cat to shut up.
That's Twiggy. Twiggy on the mic. She wants to go outside.
That's funny. In the snow?
Yeah, she loves the snow.
Oh, all right. Oh, because of her cold heart. I get it. It's like a recharge.
Your cat hate will stop there, sir. Continue.
Her
Okay.
frosty demeanor is welcomed in the outdoors.
We're talking about a veggie burger. We're talking about a veggie
Yes.
burger.
No, it's not even a veggie burger. That's what intrigues me. It's not like a garden patty necessarily. So it's called the Impossible Burger, and I'm going to read it from their website. So our burger is made from simple, all-natural ingredients such as wheat, coconut oil, and potatoes. I happen to know the coconut oil is what kind of simulates the fat in the patty. So like when you cook it and it kind of looks like there's fat in the patty, that's coming from the coconut oil. What makes the Impossible Burger unlike all others is an ingredient called heme. H-E-M-E, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Heme is a basic building block of life on Earth, including plants, but it's uniquely abundant in meat. We discovered that heme is what makes meat smell, sizzle, bleed, and taste gloriously meaty. Consider it is the, quote, magic ingredient that makes our burger a carnivore's dream. So, it's interesting. Now, the way the world produces meat today is taking an enormous toll on our planet. According to livestock researchers, animal agriculture uses 30% of all land, over 25% of all fresh water on Earth, and creates as much greenhouse gas emissions as all of the world's cars, trucks, trains, ships, and airplanes combined.
Whoa, that's a lot.
We make the we're killing the planet because meat is delicious. Which, I don't know, if you're gonna do it, it's a pretty worthy cause.
Right.
We make the Impossible Burger entirely from plants without the destructive impact of livestock so that you, your children, and your grandchildren's children will always be able to enjoy a good old-fashioned burger. I'm intrigued. I am definitely intrigued.
Very interesting. Right off the bat, I have this thing with trying to make, but this is from a different perspective. Like when vegetarians and vegans eat things that are meat substitute products that are trying to be too much like meat, I think it freaks me out a little bit. Like, enjoy the vegetables for what they are, but this is kind of a different mission where they want to feed meat eaters something that tastes like meat for a bigger, better cause, right?
Right.
So I'll throw my first freak out of the way. To call it a carnivore's dream, that's a joke.
True.
because if it's not on a bone, like a steak or ribs or something like that, a burger is great,
Right.
but it's not gonna, it's not gonna really, really give you the qualities
I was
of
gonna say,
eating.
You know what a carnivore likes the most about meat?
What's that?
Tastes like murder.
Exactly. And in some cases, if you just
Cannot
did commit the
simulate
murder,
the taste of death. I don't care what you put in there. You cannot simulate the fact that something died for your enjoyment.
well, I don't think you're understanding that about like real carnivore, like hunters. It's all part of the process, right? Like if you hunt it, like then you have this special connection to the animal, right?
Oh, if I understood it, I'd do my own butchering and stuff. I mean, that's what I'm. If it came down to like I had to go hunt and kill my own food and then dress it and all that stuff and prepare it myself, yeah, I'd probably be vegetarian, man.
Really? You don't think you could do it?
Or pay a hearty price for someone to be my meat guy.
Right. I think that's the problem is the disconnect where
For sure.
we eat meat every meal. A lot of us eat meat every meal and don't realize what's going through. And honestly, like my dad has a ranch. He's got goats and pigs and stuff. And we went out and saw the pigs, and I had a ham at home that I honestly couldn't eat it. Now, I couldn't eat it because it was cooked wrong. I put a ham in a crock pot. Don't ever put a ham in a crock pot. It was really stupid. But just the flesh was so mushy, and I had just gotten back from the pig farm. I was like, I can't do it.
Nope, not
It
doing
was gross. But I mean, all day.
Yeah,
I
ham in a crock pot. That's the more disturbing
it,
part.
it
of
was.
that
I was
story.
a 22-year-old person trying to cook. Not even that. I was probably like 19.
Got it.
I was trying to cook.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, but either way, like there is something very real about seeing the animal and then eating it, which I'm okay with. I've never been the actual butcher, but I've outside of fishing and stuff like that. Which fish, for whatever reason, we don't hold the same as we do mammals, obviously, because we're in different genus groups. Sorry, I'm fighting my cat from eating my earphones.
I just like when you say things like genius groups.
I think this, along with actually cloning tissue, which may be a little more, that'll get us closer to the steak, where that would be closer to the real
Right.
carnivore's dream. But
Because we talked about that on another show, right? Where they basically made a burger or something completely in a lab.
yeah, it was like a $10,000 or $100,000 burger or something, right? Like something ridiculous.
Something like that. Yeah.
So this is
The
actually
prices, I
happening
remember the
much more
prices were
realistic, and
ridiculous,
and it's there. Obviously, I'd have to try
Here's the
it.
thing. I don't expect this to taste like meat. But if this satisfies my need for meat and isn't bad, like even if it just tastes good for what it is versus like, oh, it tastes just like a burger, but it's, or it's like, no, it tastes really good for what it is. I could easily substitute meat for things like this if things like this are good.
Have you ever gone on have you ever tried being a vegetarian or even cutting back on meat or just eating fish or chicken even just as opposed to red meat? Have you ever done any of those diets?
Not overly consciously, but at times I'll make decisions where it's like, you know what, I'm just going to do chicken tonight. I don't want to do more burgers or steaks or anything like that. But no, I've never really.
Last summer when
You would probably disagree, but I feel like I eat actually a decently balanced kind of meal.
No,
plate. I do eat a lot of red meat. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not exclusively like, nope, I only eat burgers and
hold
steaks.
on. Well, just so America
working a
knows,
lot
when
of
John
chicken.
orders a burger, he doesn't get a tomato on it. He doesn't get any lettuce on it. You
Nope.
eat
Nope.
a burger, a bun, and cheese, and you're gonna tell me you got a balanced
Yep.
diet? Like what? No, that's ridiculous.
So you're going to tell me you're gaining nutrition from a slice of tomato and a leaf of lettuce that's on a burger that you probably dumped a bunch of sauce and garbage on that all contains sugar?
No, but I'm adding
Because you eat ketchup on yours, right? Don't you have ketchup
very
on
little. I don't need any
It
ketchup.
doesn't matter. That's like the worst thing for you.
No. Okay, but either way, like you're adding flavor and you're balancing the flavors so you have fresh vegetables.
I'm sorry. I
and
like the taste
beef.
of meat.
Like you just don't have an argument. You're like, oh, so you're
like the
getting
taste of
nutrition.
meat.
Yes, by eating actual raw vegetables, you are getting a ton of nutrition.
But it's not like I never eat. I guess raw vegetables almost never.
When's the last time you had a
I would
salad?
say almost never for raw vegetables.
la-
But I eat plenty of, I eat cooked vegetables.
When's the last time you had a salad?
It hasn't been that long actually. There's this weird barbecue chicken salad at the grocery store I like.
Okay, well
And it
that's a
comes
little
with
better. It's
spinach
still a
instead of
barbecue
lettuce,
chicken.
so I like that.
But yeah,
Well, it comes with like a barbecue ranch but I don't. I use like 6 drops because I'm not really a sauce guy.
I'm light on sauce guy too, because that is exactly right. That's where
and
you get all the
especially
sugar
for a salad,
garbage.
and especially if you're having a salad, it's like most people are like, oh, I had a salad, I'm healthy. No, ass, you dropped 2,000 calories worth of ranch on
they
there.
drown it in ranch. No, okay, but so first of all, nutrition, you need to eat the raw vegetables because you get so much more out of them than the cooked vegetables.
No, I don't disagree.
But okay, so
I definitely come up short in that department.
So
but I do eat raw fruits though.
I
do eat raw fruits. It's not. I know it's not the same.
Fine
but
and dandy. I'm so happy for you. Okay, so last summer in Joshua Tree, we were going to the market, and a couple times in a row we would buy beef or whatever, and like it would be gray right away. So we're like, I don't know what's going on because we're in a small town. We're getting like third pick or whatever. So we went off meat for like a week, and honestly, like I'm okay with it, but at the end of the week, like when you can get a good steak or something, I'm all about it. But I would much rather buy like I wish I had the storage capacity and the money to buy like a quarter of a cow and freeze everything, and then you're getting fresh from the farm, direct, grass fed, all that. Like I'm all for that, but it's just not sustainable to go to the grocery store every day and buy. Like we have to have those factory farms. When you drive up I-5 from LA, you see.
No, I agree.
There's nothing better than seeing those open fields with just like 5, 10, 20 cows with a ton of land where they're walking around. I'm like, I salivate looking at those cows. I'm like, that is delicious.
I was
beef.
going to say, and I'm pretty sure it's been proven that happy animals taste better.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We've seen Food Inc. where they're feeding cows by the hole they cut in the side of it by putting corn right into its second. It's like, it is awful. It is disgusting. Yeah. And I won't lie that corn-fed beef isn't delicious, but it's a very strange thing. And the chickens with the breasts too big that they fall over because they can't even walk, like, it is crazy. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I want my wife like that, not my chicken.
All right. I guess we got to stop on that note. Good one, John. Good one.
It's impossible. Can't look back. Can't look back. Can't look back. It's impossible.
Cheeseburger in paradise. Heaven on earth with an onion slice. Not too particular, not too precise. I'm just a cheeseburger in paradise.
I'd like to wish you all a happy holiday. Whether it is Hanukkah, Christmas, Festivus, or even Saturnalia, enjoy the great harvest and season of giving. We here at 86 Charles wish the best to you and yours. Get fat, drunk, and be merry. Go ahead and blow your load, go for it. Get it all out of your system, now fuck you.
Once upon a midnight dreary, as I googled weekend weary, a strange website I came upon, known only as 86charles.com. I heard the voices of 2 men, one of them John, the other was Travis. He only said, Amazon! To support these 2 fools known as Travis and John, one must go to 86charles.com. Once there, you simply click on the link, Amazon! Shop as you would and do nothing more. 86charles.com gets a cut of the score.
Nah.
Nickel.
What? 5 topics currently trending. Travis, what's your level of anxiety?
Had a lot of coffee this morning. It's getting pretty high. I don't know, man.
Feeling a little antsy? Do you know that you might not need mental help for that? You might be able to eat.
I've got weed
to get rid of your anxiety.
I'm gonna eat weed. Sure, that's fine.
I mean, I guess technically would work. Since ancient times, it has been known that certain foods have a calming effect on the mind. Finally, recent studies are backing up this long-observed effect. Certain foods are really effective in curing or at least alleviate anxiety. Number 1, we actually kind of just talked about this, fish. It is a well-known fact that fish is considered one of the healthiest food sources for protein. However, recent research indicates that the omega-3 in fatty fish, such as the wild Alaskan salmon, may significantly reduce anxiety levels. Probiotics. Probiotic-rich foods have already established themselves to improve gut health and strengthen one's immune system. However, a recent study shows that probiotic foods could also cure social anxiety. It is high time to include pickles, kimchi, kefir, and sauerkraut in one's daily diet. And then there is also magnesium-rich food, foods rich in zinc, which would include like oysters, crab, lobster, beef, chicken, cashews, milk, and cheese. And then avocado and other vitamin B-rich foods. So there you go. That's how you can reduce your anxiety, dude.
Well, other than pickles, because pickles can go to hell, I eat a lot of these foods. Except...
what is kefir?
Kefir. I'm not sure. I've heard of it, but I don't know. I think it's a pickled plant similar to the other ones, right? Because that's what sauerkraut and kimchi are.
Like kimchi and sauerkraut?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I've never had kefir. I've heard it's really good for you. I don't eat enough fish. Definitely eat fish. I don't have like a anti-fish thing. It's just, I think fish, unless you live by the ocean, I always feel like it's never fresh enough. I don't like buying frozen fish necessarily either.
Right.
Yeah. Why do you think fish is so calming? Because it like the way it swims, like, you know, it's calming to watch fish in an aquarium. How is it also calming to eat them?
Well, because of what's in them. The omega-3, dude.
We didn't really get into it, but there is something there too, like that I do fear about that. When we break everything down to the molecule and we smash it back together and we call it a Impossible Burger, like, what is it missing? It's missing the essence of life. It's missing whatever, you know, it's missing something there. And maybe in the case of, you know, horribly, terribly sad cows, it's a good thing that it's missing that essence of life, but it's missing something, right?
But see, I don't think it is. It has a magic ingredient, dude.
Heme. We need to change that to hemp, and then it'll be all, then we're right.
I'm sure you could put some in there. It wouldn't even
hemp
matter.
in there too. All right, well, let's keep on talking about cows and the nanny state.
Right.
California is now regulating cow farts, John. The nation's
Someone
leading
had to.
agricultural state is now targeting greenhouse gases produced by dairy cows and other livestock. Despite strong opposition from farmers, Governor Jerry Brown signed legislation in September that for the first time regulates heat-trapping gases from livestock operations and landfills. Cattle and other farm animals are major sources of methane, a greenhouse gas many times more potent than carbon dioxide as a heat-trapping gas. Methane is released when they belch, pass gas, and make manure. If we can reduce emissions of methane, we can really help to slow global warming, says Ryan McCarthy, a science advisor of the California Air Resource Board. Livestock are responsible for 14.5% of human-induced greenhouse gas emissions, with beef and dairy production accounting for the bulk of it. Since the passage of this landmark global warming law in 2006, California has been reducing carbon emissions from cars, trucks, homes, and factories while boosting production of renewable energy. In the nation's largest milk-producing state, the law aims to reduce methane emissions from dairies and livestock operations to 40% below 2013 levels by 2030. State officials are developing the regulations which take effect in 2024. So it's going to happen in the beautiful state of California, of course. Kind of a hard thing to do. I guess, I don't know, this doesn't really offer any solutions, and I don't know how they measure it, so it's kind of a lame article, but it goes along with what we're talking about.
It's probably measured in the same way you would measure, say, vehicle emissions.
Right, but
where you could probably gauge the area.
Right, so it's a
then
smog check.
I don't know how
bring
you
your
go
cow,
about regulating that.
You bring your cow through the smog check thing. You stick a thing up its ass.
Exactly.
Just like that.
They put it
this
in his butt and make him run on a treadmill.
This 2011 cow, it's got to go. You're gonna have to take it to some. You got to take it to the local mechanic. They do some things under the hood.
Cows born this year don't have to be checked.
Yeah. This is a good thing though.
Dude. I mean, it goes right in line with everything else we're saying. Where it's like, okay, if you can't, you're not going to take meat away from everybody, so you have to do something to make it more environmentally viable and friendly.
Right. There's got to be a way to spread it out. Do something. I have no answers. I have no solutions. I'm just saying, we probably need less methane. It's probably good.
Oh, we absolutely do. But that's because we need less cows, and that's because we need to consume and factorize more. Factorize, that's not a word. and manufacture less meat.
And that'll all be possible with the Impossible Burger. Maybe.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's probably. But again, methane regulation, the Impossible Burger, these are all things that will help.
Well, until Donald Trump takes office and kicks all these laws out.
He doesn't. Again, it's like none of these things are even happening in his world. There is no global warming when you're the Trump.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why he'll come in and be like, we don't need regulation. Everything's fine. The ice caps aren't melting.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
That's the good news, is he's not going to be able to just stroll into California and undo all the things that we've done.
Right. It's a good time to live in.
Some of them maybe, but not all of
I
them.
think it's always been a good time in California, but with everything that happened in the election, it was like, oh yeah, I'm in California. I don't really care. We're fine.
Yeah. Well, it's not that I don't care. It's just that I'm a little more shielded from it, I think.
Right. Well, especially, now my brain is more shielded because I'm high a lot. So you have that nice buffer zone from.
Because you're in the mountains?
Well, both. I'm literally physically high and mentally high because it's legal. Because I was never high before it was legal.
Because it's legal. I can't believe you waited all this time.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible. All right, let's move on.
Night after the election, it was like, oh God, finally I can smoke some weed.
You heard me in the last election, in the last podcast. I was so high I couldn't even talk to you.
You managed through. All right, we moving on?
Moving on.
Sticking with the theme of the Earth is dying, Antarctic ice shelf could collapse within 100 years, scientists warn. A massive iceberg splintered off of one of West Antarctica's largest glaciers last year, and now scientists have discovered the troubling reason why. In 2015, an iceberg measuring 225 square miles broke off the Pine Island Glacier, which forms part of the ice shelf that bounds the West Antarctic ice sheet. The way the Pine Island Glacier broke apart from the inside out is a sign that the ice sheet is still melting. And this is a quote. It is generally accepted that it's no longer a question of whether the West Antarctic ice sheet will melt, it's a question of when. In fact, the scientists warned that the West Antarctic ice sheet could collapse within the next 100 years. That would lead to a sea level rise of nearly 10 feet, flooding coastlines around the world. Rifts usually form at an ice shelf's borders where ice is thinner, but the rifting in the Pine Island Glacier originated from the center, which implies that the ice shelf was already weakened at the center, likely by the warming ocean melting an ice crevice at the bedrock level. So, like it or not, things are heating up. Acknowledge it or not, things are heating up.
Let me ask you something, John.
Yeah.
Why do you think I'm in a mountain right now? On a mountain. Seas are rising.
Because the water's
Be
rising.
the only one that's safe up here. 10 feet, it's got to raise another 6,400 feet to get me, all right? I'm good.
I'm good.
Good for now. We'll see. Yeah.
100 years, man, that's not very long.
No.
Like, I'll be fine because I don't plan to live to 130, but...
Well, with science, like the next generation after us, like your kids, John, when you have these beautiful children that you want so bad, they might live to be 150 years old with science.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So it could be literally in the next generation's lifetime.
It's true. And they're saying 100 years. It could be sooner.
Absolutely.
Could be later.
Well, especially
but
if
it
any
could
kind
be
of
sooner.
greater, catastrophic or calamity happens, it's just going to propel
Sure.
it. 10 feet. Could you imagine 10 feet? Think about next time you go to the ocean, look around and see what's 10 feet up. Like, we're going to lose a lot. All right, let's move on to more terrible things.
I'm sure. World's ending.
Vladimir Putin has a secret clone army of designer attack dogs to sniff out explosives. Are you excited?
No, that's not the word for it.
Well, just so you know, special designer dogs, which have been cloned for sniffing explosives and drugs, are being used by police and security services in Russia. The 3 Belgian Malinois, each valued at 80,000 pounds, were cloned by a South Korean professor who also aims to one day restore the extinct woolly mammoth to the vast and frigid Russian province of Siberia. They are the first cloned service dogs in Russia, and they will be assigned to police and FSB Secret Service in Yakutia, the coldest inhabited region in the world. Before they enter service, however, the first task for the dogs is language retraining, as they only understand orders in Korean. The dogs were unveiled to the Russian media at the Mammoth Museum in regional capital Yakutsk something like that. So there's this picture of these 3 dogs with people dressed in their military garb, and behind them is the fossilized bones of the woolly mammoth. It's a pretty incredible picture. This is the same part of Siberia where the professor is collecting samples from extinct woolly mammoths preserved for thousands of years in the permafrost, which the aim of bringing the species back to life in their native habitat. The dogs were officially handed over to the All-Russian Military Historical Society, which will deploy them as needed for the law enforcement services. You excited? Hold on. Here's one more thing. There are among 500 cloned puppies. So this Soam Biotech Laboratories in Seoul has cloned 500 puppies. That's a lot of clones, man.
Yeah, and no, I'm not excited.
Oh, the clones are coming. We've got a woolly mammoth. I would like to see a woolly mammoth, but I just don't think it'll go over well.
No, I don't want to see a woolly mammoth.
Like, there's a reason they died out.
And
right?
and this is in fact a shout out to Rick. This is not the first time they've used dogs to sniff out explosives.
Right.
I think this goes back to like World War II. But I don't like the idea of Putin genetically manipulating anything.
It sounds evil.
When you talk about Putin having designer dogs and explosives all in the same sentence, and woolly mammoths all in the same sentence.
And like you said, if they've been doing it since World
him-
War II, they've obviously been breeding these dogs normally, and like we've still got dogs that are
Right,
rated.
so why-
we've got
so-
canines, we've got, it's
So
like,
why do you have to? What are you doing
Exactly.
to that dog in the
what
laboratory?
are they tinkering with, like little genes here and there until they just turn into like super killers that like, or they're putting electronic devices. I don't know, man. It's
I just picture him just bare chested riding a woolly mammoth with like a dog who's actually a bomb.
Well, and I love that this super genius doctor in South Korea is teaming up with him just because he wants access to like the best woolly mammoths that they ever find so he can clone them. You know what I'm saying? It's like it seems like it's not a good combination of things.
No, it's all terrible.
Super
It's not
genius,
gonna end
crazy
well
driven
for-
doctor.
That ends
and,
poorly for everybody.
Yeah. Oh man. So my prediction is like bionic woolly mammoths, like that are ridden by. This is like right out of Game of Thrones, right? Don't they have woolly mammoths with like the White Walkers?
Yeah, something. Yeah, I guess they have some sort of version thereof.
Look out, giants and White Walkers and woolly mammoths coming from Russia.
Yeah, that's not.
It's gonna be a crazy world in 100 years.
Man.
The ice melting. They're gonna have to flee down south. Like it's gonna be. This is too much.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say the world's getting better.
Bring us home, John. Let's talk about something positive.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it's positive, but low social status leads to off-kilter immune system. Living on the bottom rungs of the social ladder may be enough to make you sick. A new study manipulating the pecking order of monkeys finds that low social status kicks the immune system into high gear, leading to unwanted inflammation akin to that in people with chronic diseases. The new study gets at an age-old question that's been tough to study experimentally. Does social status alone change biology in a way that can make a person more healthy or more vulnerable to disease? This is a quote. We've known for years that human health and longevity are linked to socioeconomic status. This is from Steve Cole, an expert in human social genomics at UCLA. This link often persists regardless of factors such as access to decent health care or clean water, but it's hard to design studies to get at mechanism or causation. This study is very nice to see and is very consistent with other lines of research. To tease out the influence of rank on health, scientists turn to another highly social animal, the rhesus monkey. Evolutionary biologists worked with 45 female monkeys at the Yerkes National Primate Research Center field station. The researchers arranged the monkeys in groups of 5, adding monkeys one at a time, which reliably resulted in the oldest member dominating and the newest member having the lowest rank. These groups were maintained for a year, during which the researchers noted behaviors and took blood samples to assess changes in cellular and gene activity associated with the monkeys' social status. Then the researchers rearranged the monkeys into different groups of 5, this time grouping monkeys of the same social rank together. Again, the monkeys established pecking orders, and the researchers observed behaviors and drew blood. It was quite clear which monkeys were dominant and which were subordinate. The alpha female, no one's messing with her. Low-ranking monkeys were harassed more, and not only did they receive more flack, but they also lacked a shoulder to cry on. Subordinate monkeys participated far less in grooming behaviors, which typically promote feel-good social bondings. The effects of rank turned out to be more than skin deep. Low-ranking monkeys had different proportions of immune system cells circulating in their blood, and gene activity within some of the cells was dialed up in the low-ranking monkeys. That's interesting, man. That was a mouthful. Sorry about that.
No, it's fascinating. I'm just trying to wrap.
That's interesting, though.
Like, because we've always associated it with, like, okay, you get more money, you can get a better diet, you eat better, like that type of stuff. But if you're lower in the pecking order, it's like literally in changing your genes and your structure of your genes.
Yeah, and it's based just on, emotions, I guess.
Right. I mean, like, that's how powerful our minds are.
I guess it's based a lot on how you feel because of where you're at in the social pecking order.
Well, and if this is happening with monkeys, is it worse with us since our minds are more powerful? Like, if you're,
No, I have to. There's just more self-aweness, so it has to.
It's fascinating. It's insane.
It has to.
It's that back to that essence of life thing, man. When you break it down to the molecules and what are we missing in that burger? What are we missing that's happening in front of our face by being an asshole to somebody?
Right, exactly. That's what it really starts to get me thinking of, like, how many people could you help just by throwing an arm around them, just by letting someone in on the joke?
Right. Yeah. Comedy's going to be tough if you got to be nice to everybody, though.
Pulling mites off of their hair.
How do you
remain
humorous without, there's got to be somebody to pick on, right? Who can you make fun of? I guess Donald Trump's a good candidate because you're not going to touch his ego.
Well, and it's not. But there's also in it. You can do anything and make it inclusive. You can make fun of someone and not make them feel like they're the butt of the joke as much as part of the joke.
Right. Yeah, obviously you don't have to pick on people.
It's not easy, but you can do that.
But no, it's baffling. The more science we get, and we understand how, like a study like this is amazing because, like, when I've never seen anything like this, how it's hard to even, I'm not smart enough to put it together. I don't know enough about science, I don't know enough.
Well, I just like that science will back up that, hey, there is an emotional connection to health and life. It's not just about science. And when the two kind of collide like that, where it's like, look, the emotional state is actually affecting is affecting them on a cellular level.
Well, I'm going to go be nice to people today.
I think you should.
Well, I'm going to try.
Yeah, do your best. Can only ask so much.
The mountain air does help too. Let me tell you, bro. The mountain air.
I'll leave it on this last little quote here. Companionship for low-ranking monkeys might lessen the inflammation spurred by their low social status. How sad is that?
Or how great is that? They find a companion.
Or how great is it?
Heal
Yeah,
themselves.
true.
You know what you need, John? You need a little cat. You need a little cat in your house.
We all have the ability to heal each other, Travis.
Well, you need a cat to help heal you. We'll start there.
Yeah. We'll not start there.
From last week.
Hello, folks.
This one almost isn't fair, but a lesson I've learned once or twice over the past month, life isn't fair. I would, however, like to point out that every other time I've recorded one of these, it's been super fair. And one of the first 14 times Travis celebrates the legalization of marijuana, I'm going to have to go back and check the tape to recall specifically which celebration it is. He calls for a round of applause. And my brain immediately makes the assumption we're going to get a fun round of applause sound effect. Instead, what we get is uneven clapping from one person. It communicated a very sarcastic approval. It was a line of applause, if you will, but more of a dotted line. Or it could have also been Morse code. In fact, as I write this, I can't think of a more stoner thing to do than to celebrate marijuana legalization by getting real high, figuring out what the Morse code would be for fuck yeah, and clapping that code in a suddenly layered podcast conversation. But to be fair, that's probably not what happened. This is Jesse, and coming to grips with fairness was my favorite part of last week's podcast.
It's time for the failed athlete perspective. Travis.
John,
we're getting close.
It hasn't been the best fantasy football season for me. I'll say that. So I got 3 leagues. I'm definitely going to make the playoffs in one. I'm right on the edge. I need 1 win to get in my personal league. And then in the official 86 Charles League, honestly, anything can happen because 2 games separate the top person from second to last. So there's so many playoff implications. This is the playoff
Didn't
push,
I just take out the top dog in that league this week? Didn't I take out number 1?
Last week?
Yeah.
I don't know. Who'd you play?
What was it? Surasak?
Oh, yeah. So he's at 7-5. Yeah, so he would have been in first place.
But I think he was
week.
number 1 at the time, and I was at 5-6. I was below 500.
Right. And at 6-6, honestly,
I put a beating on him.
With 2 more wins, you should make it, right?
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I have no idea what the standings are in that league. I don't even really care. I phone in that league 100%.
You're 1 game
I set my lineup, and in fact, I forgot to even set it this week. I had guys in, but I didn't have the right guys
Well,
in.
let's get into it so people know, like, what makes a terrible fantasy football league. First of all, he has,
no customization, first and foremost.
It's not a PPR league. He just went with the standard scoring league. And on top of that, it's on NFL.com, which I hate. I hate NFL.com. It crashes.
I don't hate NFL.com, and I'm only loyal to them because it was the first one I ever did. So I always kept my league in NFL.com. But it's no customization. So it's like it's the standard, most stripped down version that you can have, which is terrible.
Right.
Because then there's no PPR. It's like 4-point quarterback touchdowns. And most of the people in this league, they're not really that into it. So
yeah, I think they have more enthusiasm than talent, but
sure.
And that's not even like I'm in 10th place, which, is horrible. But I've had so many injuries. I had a bad draft, so many things. But the way the league is set up,
you based your team on Tony Romo. It was doomed from the start.
Yeah. I mean, well, it was him and Kirk Cousins, who I dropped Kirk Cousins at a certain point, and he's been great in the second half. But I've got Dak Prescott. So
right.
I've got holy Dak. Like, who else do you need? And David Johnson. Like, on paper, now I like my team now. It took a while to finally get it. I had to pick up guys like Michael
Holy
Thomas.
Dak?
Holy Dak. 10-1.
That's not like a nickname for him.
That's a great nickname. Holy Dak.
Nobody says that.
I don't care. I say it. I'm a creator of nicknames.
That is awful.
All right, John.
What an awful nickname that is. Holy Dak.
What's wrong with Holy Dak? That's a great name. He's got the Cowboys to 10-1. He took down Tony Romo. He should be Holy Dak.
That's a terrible nickname.
Well, Holy Dak, you don't know what you're talking about. That's all I got to say.
You should call him Dakhead.
No, he's not a Dak head. He's a Holy Dak.
No, but okay, so his fans are Dakheads.
All right, so let's break. Yeah, he's got a loyal legion of Dak heads, including me. Because I don't even like the Cowboys, nor do I care about him. But if he can get me 2 wins, I just might make the playoffs. It's pretty unlikely from my 5 I don't know. Think I'm making the playoffs at 7-7. That's pretty pathetic.
All right. So overall, how many leagues are you in?
I'm in 3 leagues. I'm definitely gonna make the playoffs.
How many
in
are you
1.
making the playoffs?
Second one, a win, and I'm in. I control my own destiny this week in my league, and then a lot of screwy stuff has to happen in the official 86 Charles League for me to get in. So most likely, I hope I'll be in 2. I'm definitely in 1, and that's at least $100 league. So I can hopefully get all my money back for the year.
Okay.
You
still have plenty on the line.
Yeah. It's been a rough season. I've had a lot of injuries, and I've been playing the waiver wire a lot. But I've rounded all my teams out. I think they're all talented, and if I get in the playoffs, anything can happen.
I mean, it sounds like everyone's fantasy football season. Cry me a river.
Yeah, exactly.
There's always injuries.
It's so groundbreaking, fantasy football. We don't have enough information, though.
This is the good time of year, though, man. God, I want to check bad. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to be, even one this year is not going to cut it for me. I need 2. If I don't win 2 leagues, I'm going to feel like I failed.
Okay, so where are you at? You're in 5 leagues, right?
I'm in 5 leagues
way
this
too
year.
many leagues, first of all.
Again, unless I think you said I need like 2 wins to make it in an 86 Charles league.
Yeah, but you got a good chance because anything can happen. It's literally all the guys.
Right.
There's 4 people on top at 7-5. The next 4 are 6-6, and then there's like me at 5-7.
So if I make the playoffs in that league, then I'm going 5 for 5 on playoffs.
That'd be incredible. Yeah, and if you don't,
because in my
you got to
in my
win
2
too if you
Yahoo
make 5.
leagues,
well, you at least got to get a check.
In my
in
2
two,
Yahoo
right?
leagues, I've already clinched in both of those. In one ESPN league, I am in second, or I'm tied for second. But there's divisions, and I don't know exactly how many teams make the playoffs. But I mean, I'm probably at like 80% chance of making the playoffs in that league. I would have to lose like 2 in a row, and other people would have to win 2 in a row, like multiple people.
Right.
So it'd be hard for me to not make the playoffs, but I haven't clinched. And then the other ESPN league, I'm in first, starting to run away with it a little bit, except for Joe. I've lost to Joe twice in that league.
He's got your
I've
number.
only lost 3 times all year, and twice has been to Joe.
Shout out to Joe. Take Joe.
Shout out to Joe.
Take John down. Take John down. That's your one goal in life, is to take John down.
Yeah, this has probably been my best fantasy football season ever. I've been in like first or second in virtually every league all year long.
That's funny because you folded, at least for this year, the league that you had running for what, 10 years that you were a commissioner of?
Yeah, which I never once made the playoffs in.
So that was what was holding you back, being a commissioner. You
think
couldn't
so,
handle the
man.
pressure.
Oddly enough.
It's too much, right? Too much responsibility?
No.
Well, you were terrible
I just
at
think,
it, obviously.
Like Roger Goodell, if he wasn't the commissioner of the NFL, would probably be a cooler person to hang out with.
I don't know. That dude's pretty evil. He's an evil ginger. Like, oh, yeah, I'm going to hang out with this evil ginger. And now he has like 80, 90, $400 million. How long has he been commissioner now, making $40 million a year? He is definitely the 1% of evil.
You think he kicks it with Putin? I feel like he would hang out with Putin.
Well, Putin's probably running the league. Let's be honest.
Dude, it would not be nearly as safe if Putin were running the league.
All right, so let's talk playoffs. Like, do you have any insight? Do you see like scheduled things that you think will be strong plays? You have a couple players that you really like coming into the last couple weeks of the season?
I will in your league specifically, picking up Colin Kaepernick has been huge.
Yeah, he's been really good the last couple games.
Because you run a 2-quarterback league, and I had David Carr and Andy Dalton, which have been great. But I'm starting to feel like anyone outside of Tyler Eifert, I don't really want to touch any of the Bengals right now. For some reason, that system seems completely broken.
Real quick, let's talk about my league. You are in first place, 10-2, doing great, right? But you haven't once. So from weeks 4 to 10 or 4 to 13, it's $25 payout for top score. You haven't hit it once. What's going on? How are you in first place? You haven't hit top score once.
Because I haven't peaked yet, brother.
You almost had it.
Check.
You almost had it last week.
You can keep the scraps. I'm going to take the big check.
You almost had it last week when Kaepernick crushed it. And then the end of the Raiders game, David Carr just keeps throwing the ball to Michael Crabtree. Guess who had Michael Crabtree? Me. Guess who got all those points and took top prize for the week? Me. So I might not win any money, but at least I got $25 back, my friend.
Well, I was going to say, you might not win any leagues, but at least you won a little money.
I got $25 back. You're going to make the playoffs. I'm going to knock you out in the second round.
I needed Carr in 2 different leagues that night, though, so I'm fine with him dealing to Crabtree. I needed it.
All right. I just want to let everybody know that I beat you in top score this week because that might be all I have this year. That might be it. We'll see.
You can have it. I'll let you have it. It's all good.
All right. Thanks, bro.
Like I said, it's great because I am in first place, but I haven't had my best game yet.
You know,
because I'm saving it for the finals.
Michael Thomas has been amazing. That's been probably my best pickup, and I have him in all 3 leagues. He's been great. He had one game where he had no catches. That was a stinker, but a couple 2 touchdown games, always targeted like 8-9 times a game. You know, he's killing me, and I drafted him. I let him go. I picked him up again, and last week was the week where I finally thought he was going to pay off. Thomas Rawls, man, what happened? What happened to Thomas?
No, I kept my hands off of that dude. I never had any interest in that guy.
Like when Christine Michael was
that
playing,
Seattle
he was
running
good.
back situation to me was a mess.
It is a mess. Seattle, they've gone back and
I
forth.
haven't had a Seattle running back all year.
How do they
in
look?
Any capacity?
How do they look so good for a couple weeks and then just go right back to crap? They lose 14-5. Like what happened to the offense the last 2 weeks before that? They look great.
And especially to Tampa Bay. Like, Tampa Bay's not dominant.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they had lost in a shootout, I could be like, okay, yeah, you just,
And their defense still played. They gave up 14 points. Like, Seattle should be able to win a game that they only give up 14 points.
Absolutely. But how does Tampa Bay hold Seattle's offense to 5?
Yeah,
that means the defense scored almost half of those points.
And it was in Tampa Bay, but that shouldn't, 5 points. What is that? That's a safety. So the offense got 3 points? Come on.
That's what I'm saying. The defense scored almost half of those points.
That's a joke. Can we talk about field goal kicking and extra? It's been awful. What is going on with kickers, man? It's terrible.
I think it's good. Extra points shouldn't be a gimme.
Yeah, but do you
it's
want
not a free throw?
So we've got games relying on where it's 300-pound guys smashing each other at the sidelines, super freak athletes running around, guys that can throw the ball. There's so much athleticism going on the field that it's coming down to the dude who kicks the ball. And I'm a soccer player.
Hey,
I love kicking the ball.
Don't tell me that a kicking play is not an athletic play.
It is a very.
You still have an offensive and a defensive line colliding. You have an offensive line trying to keep defenders from penetrating and blocking a kick.
The snap,
and
the
I'm
hold.
sorry, dude.
I get it. But
in front of thousands of people,
you're
going to be able to kick a little leather object through two goalposts?
It's always coming down to that. I just wish there was a way we could marginalize it a little bit more so it didn't come into play so much. When it's
I have no problem with putting a small emphasis for one play on the mental side of the game. Because how often do they say 90% of this game is mental? Correct?
What's Yogi Berra's quote? 90% of the game is 100% mental, or 50% of the game is 90% mental.
Whatever.
Something like that.
You and your quotes, you're awesome.
Yogi, yeah, I really nail quotes. Yeah, something like.
But that's so to me, it's like the field goal kicking, and especially the extra point. It's like that's a real emphasis on the mental side of the game. Because yes, physically, every one of these kickers should be able to do that automatically. It's the mental side that has to do with it.
Right. Well, and there are a lot of moving parts, and we've seen it a couple times.
Of course
bad
there are.
snaps, and then bad blocking, like the Arizona game where the dude just jumped over. Like, how is that legal?
Yes.
And how does somebody not just put a hand up and stop him?
I am all for it. I don't care how many extra points get missed.
I will say
I'm all for it.
I just want to limit it somehow. I don't know, but I will say Justin Tucker might be the MVP this year.
Oh, he's stone cold, man.
Have you heard that dude
guy's
sing?
A killer.
Have you heard him sing?
His operatic voice.
Oh, Justin Tucker. That's a man's man.
Oh,
Justin
I'm glad
Tucker.
you mentioned that. We have to do a follow-up to a story.
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Like right now. Is it about Justin Tucker?
You know how we were talking about like driving songs and like songs that get you fired up?
Oh yeah.
I found out John Gruden's
from watching Monday Night Football?
Yeah, did you see it?
No, I don't think so. This last week?
No, whenever it was when Oakland was on last.
Okay.
Was that last week or the week
2
before?
weeks ago, yeah, in Mexico City.
Yeah, exactly. So they were talking about Amari Cooper and Derek Carr, which they call them AC/DC.
Yeah.
So before the little segment starts, he's like, "Oh yeah, we get to listen to some AC/DC," and then the song "Shoot to Thrill" came on, and Gruden was losing his mind. He's like, "Man, that song gets me fired up."
Shoot.
That's
Did
a
he
quote.
say it was his
so
driving?
John Gruden gets fired up from AC/DC's "Shoot to Thrill."
Did he say it was his driving? But he just said it gets him fired up. Not his.
No, it had nothing to do with driving.
Okay, gotcha. So it's kind of a follow-up.
But it does get him fired up,
kind
and
of
it fits
story.
into that vein.
Well, I mean, that dude probably gets pumped up from anything. He's just a high-intensity energy dude.
Oh. I'm just glad that he referenced it again later on. He said, "Man, I wish we could get some more of that AC/DC. That gets me fired up."
Oh, man. You know what doesn't get me fired up?
Enough so that I had to write it down after that so I would remember to talk about it.
You know what doesn't get me fired up? Talking about what John Gruden gets fired up about. I don't give a shit about
Come
John
on,
Gruden.
man.
Come on.
I like to know what gets John Gruden fired up.
Good for you. Maybe he'll retweet you too. Hey, congratulations, by the way. I'm really happy for you. What? Okay, so
well, technically, I didn't get retweeted. It just got liked.
You got liked by
retweet
Jake the Snake
That would have
Plumber.
been a real step forward.
What was the actual? What was the conversation? I said something, and you replied with something about Jake Plummer.
You sent me a link to Jake Plummer's High Times article.
Oh yeah, because he's a marijuana advocate.
Because he's advocating for marijuana use in the NFL
and CBD research. Yeah, all the good stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you just said the snake, and then I read the article, and I replied, and then I mean obviously you know I'm not social media savvy, so I just replied, and it obviously went to everybody that you had written it to or addressed it to. One of them being Jake Plummer himself, and so I said, what did I say?
You said
something. Forget Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Or something to that effect.
Tom Brady who?
Jake Plummer's the GLA.
I'm looking at it right now.
Which
Tom Brady
stands for
who?
Greatest Living American.
Jake Plummer is the GLA, parentheses, Greatest Living American, with one like from Jake Plummer himself at Snakes Takes.
Yes. Yes.
John, this is the happiest moment of your life. What?
It's up there, man.
What?
No joke, it is up there.
Big thanks to Jake Plummer for liking your tweet.
For one moment of one day, Jake Plummer was thinking about me.
That's a beautiful thing.
That's huge.
It's a beautiful thing.
Considering how much time I've spent thinking about Jake Plummer, it's nice to know that at least for one moment, it went the other way.
Yeah, it's like those, are they Snickers commercials? Oh, no, they're Pepsi commercials where you've got the person doing the regular thing, like maybe proposing to their wife or whatever, or they're like, they pop a Pepsi and they're like, oh, man, this must be what it's like when Antonio Brown scores a touchdown. And then Antonio Brown scores a touchdown. He's like, oh, man, this is what it must be like when John Derby gets retweeted by Jake Plummer. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Those are good commercials.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's pretty brilliant. All right. Anything else you want to say about fantasy football?
No. I think we're good, man.
We bored the hell out of America.
Good luck to everyone in their leagues, man. It's playoff time.
Hey, dig
Go
in.
Get those checks.
Dig in. Collect them checks.
You heard about my law firm's rep? I check my bank.
It's time for the Facebook World News Update. This Real to Someone News Update is brought to you by Impossible is Nothing and a Meatless Burger. A man in California said, "Why are there still poor people? Have you not heard of driving for Uber?" A man in Inglewood said he's not afraid of clowns. He is afraid of spellcheck abandoning him in a key moment. A woman in Massachusetts said they should free OJ but have Ja Rule just follow him around everywhere, going, "Murder."
It's a stinky situation with major implications for local dairy farmers.
It's really just 3 or 4 companies that are controlling the meat.
The more dependent we are on meat, milk, and eggs, the greater the CO2 and methane emissions.
Livestock causes more greenhouse gases than all the direct emissions from the entire transportation sector.
So they fired all their car hops, they got rid of most of the things on the menu, and they created a revolutionary idea to how to run a restaurant. And they basically brought the factory system to the back of the restaurant kitchen. They trained each worker to just do one thing again and again and again. When McDonald's is the largest purchaser of ground beef in the United States, and they want their hamburgers to taste everywhere exactly the same, they change how ground beef is produced.
A man in Los Angeles said the only thing that got her through the Bush administration was West Wing. Hashtag I love Martin Sheen. A woman in Medford said sometimes the world gets crazy and you forget that Britney did a song with the Yin Yang Twins and it was fire. This Real to Someone news update is brought to you by Impossible is Nothing and a Meatless Burger.
Dad's got notebooks. We don't know what's in her notebooks. She's gonna show us all her notebooks. Little yellow pad
May 31st, 2009. I call this Sisyphus Moderne. The setting, a normal place in the world. The players, Fade, a driven man of undetermined age. Philomena, an introspective woman of undetermined age. Lights up on an empty stage painted white. Fade pushes a large cart on stage. Center stage, he pulls out a domino, holds it aloft, examines it, then sets it down the stage on its end. Methodically, he begins placing dominoes in a growing spiral pattern. As he works, music plays. It is a progression. Light xylophone music. A mother singing. Hot Child in the City by Nick Gilder. The Terminator Salvation theme. Opera. Bistu by Mir. At each music change, Fade looks up and listens. Each song, reminding him of events in his past, makes him react with glee, sadness, trepidation, verve. As he gets to the end, he slows, as if tired. Although he slows, his happiness grows. Near the end of the spiral, he must reach deep into the cart. Practically his whole body is inside as he rummages to reach the last domino. Eventually, he grips it and holds it aloft, joy infusing his face. Just as he is about to set down the final domino, Philomena, head down, reading a book, Our Bodies Ourselves 1987 edition, trudges on stage. Not noticing, she kicks into and through the dominoes. The entire spiral crashes to the ground. Philomena continues to read and walk off stage, never noticing the destruction she has left in her wake. Fade can only stare after her. Examining the ruin, he begins to cry, then to sob. Finally, he gathers himself and, although beaten down, regains some resolve. He begins to reset the dominoes, starting with the last one at the end of the spiral. As he rebuilds his life, a violin plays Separate Ways by Journey. Lights out.
I've brought bread
to men, women, and children.
I've brought water with lemon for the table.
I have hot tea.
Can I box that for you?
I'll bring your change.
About 10 years ago, I had an article clerk who endeavoured to convince me that there were rats in the roof of the building that we were leasing. And I didn't take any real notice of him at that point in time. But he called me in one day into his office. And sure enough, we could hear the scratching and movement of some sort of animal in the roof. Anyway, being a country boy and having dealt with rats before in the family home when I was a kid, I said to my article clerk, look, go down to the local hardware store and buy a pack of rat sack, which is designed to poison the rat. And I said to my article clerk, look, you won't have to worry because the components of the rat sack, not only does it attract the rat to eat the poison, because the poison is sprinkled through grain that the rats enjoy to eat, but once they eat the poison and they ingest the poison, it then makes them extremely thirsty, so they leave the building looking for something to eat. So I assured him of that, and he said, oh, okay, I'm all right, okay. So time goes by, and the office closed down for a long weekend. It closed on the Friday, and we didn't reopen again until the Tuesday. We had the Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. Anyway, when we got back to the office, my article clerk materialised to me and said, there is absolutely no way known that I'm going to go in and work in that office today. I said, why not? He said, there's something in there that's dead. And I said, what are you talking about? said, "Will you come with me, boss, and I'll show you?" You know, I walked into his office, and sure enough, there was this just putrid smell, okay? And I thought, the rat's obviously died in the roof. It hasn't gone off looking for water. It's curled up somewhere, and it's died. Anyway, I said to him, "Well, the rat's in the roof. It's died, and you've got to get it out." And he said, "Me?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Go downstairs and get the ladder out of the storage room and climb up, open the manhole. I'll get you a torch, and you can find the rat, put it in a plastic bag, and we'll throw it out in the rubbish." Anyway, I said, "I'll wait here for you." Off he went. He was gone for, I reckon, the best part of half an hour. I wonder where the bloody hell had he got to? You know, all of a sudden he materialises. And he looked like Dr. Kildare. He had a mask on, rubber gloves, like a white bandage on his head, and an apron. And here he is climbing up this ladder into the roof with the torch that I gave him to act as the undertaker for the rat. So sure enough, he disappears up into the roof, and I could hear him sort of dry reaching when he was up in the roof because of the putrid smell of the rat. But sure enough, after about 5 minutes or so, he came down the ladder and he put the rat into the bag and tied the plastic bag up, and he stood there at arm's length and handed me the bag, which I then, of course, then went down and deposited into the rubbish bin. But we had to make sure that the smell of the rat was eradicated out of his office, and so my PA got a very large can of spray fresh and sprayed and sprayed and sprayed and sprayed his office. And she also, God bless her, climbed up the ladder and sprayed it all up in the cavity of the roof where the rat came from. And subsequent to that, my article clerk was quite content to go back and work in his office.
I thought it was going to end with like a person up there or something.
Is that an alright story?
It's a good story. But how long did that person work for you?
About 3 years.
I would not go up and get the rat.
When you're an article clerk, you do as you're told.
What's an article clerk?
Well, after you finish your degree, you have to work for a year as an article clerk. It's like an apprenticeship.
Like an associate?
No, not an associate.
An apprentice.
It's like an apprentice. And the article clerk, I had numerous article clerks during my career, and at the end of their 12 months of articles, they're then admitted to the Supreme Court of Victoria, and they're then fully qualified to perform the duties of a fully qualified lawyer.
All right. Yeah. I guess that's the right person for the job then.
Yeah.
Oh, that won't let me stop recording.
And that was Deb's newest, I'm assuming newest friend. Who knows? She probably made another one in the time we were doing this. That was Ian from Australia. Thank you, Ian. That was a good story.
Great story. Great accent. You know how we love accents on this show. Deb just...
God, we really do.
The world traveler. At it again. Man.
She is, I mean, if there were a different president coming in, I would say that she needs to hold some sort of cabinet position to just be, I don't know, what, global ambassador?
There you go. Let's get her. Maybe she could run the UN. She's been everywhere, you know? She can be the chair to the UN.
I mean, I don't think that there's a position I wouldn't elect her to.
And she'll draw us up a flow chart. She'll have it all figured out. We'll know exactly what to do. It'll be beautiful.
She'll be working on like a 15-year plan.
She's sketching it out right now. She's got it. She's already got it. We're not going to hear that that story from her, from a little yellow pad for, another 10 years. But that it's coming.
True.
She just wrote it yesterday. All right. Anyway, back to Ian.
I'll tell you, there needs to be more Deb Loftus. But back to Ian from Australia.
Have you?
Let's start right where we left off. You and I off air. The Dr. Kildare reference.
Yeah. I was listening to it.
It's so good. That is so good. That made me giggle when I heard it.
But you got it right away. I had to Google it. I was like, Dr. Kildare.
Well, I only got it in one reference, which was the radio portion, because it was a radio show. But I didn't realize how far, 4 decades worth of Dr. Kildare
Have you
material.
actually ever listened to a show so you had like a mental image?
I have definitely heard at least one episode. I know that for a fact because I remember it was on one of my trips, probably to Arizona, if I can recall. Because I remember very specifically being like, Dr. Kildare, that's a cool name. And I definitely heard that show. I don't know if I've heard more than 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the name exactly or just the reference. I assumed like a gas mask and like a creepy looking doctor, but no, it's just a pretty much clean cut,
just medical doctor,
regular looking 60s
like
doctor.
But I instantly, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, okay, kind of know how old Ian is now.
Yeah.
When that's like, he doesn't even reference ER like I would do. Like,
what is
Dr. Kildare?
What is Clooney's what's the name of Clooney's doc? What's his doctor name in that show?
Oh,
I know Dr. Green's the other one, right?
That's a good question. What's that? Yeah, Dr. Green was Anthony Edwards, and I can't even remember who Noah Wiley was. I can't remember his name either.
The only doctor I could ever
Bummer.
reference is Dr. Octagon, and that's some 90s hip hop.
Way
Paging Dr. Octagon. All right, back to the story.
I was going to say, well, we just lost every listener under 40, which means every
I'm trying
listener.
to bring it back with Dr. Octagon, bro. Even then.
I know, I appreciate that.
Even then, the kids don't know who Dr.
I really
Octagon
do appreciate
is.
that. You ever had rats? You ever had rats in the roof?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not sure about the roof, but everywhere else. And just that smell when you get a dead rat. Oh, man, it is vile.
Ugh.
It is disgusting. Had one.
I'll
I'm an
give you
innkeeper. Of course I've
Go
got to
ahead.
deal with rats, bruh.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I had one not too long ago, like in a closet. I had put a power cord from like the water heater had gotten chewed off by a rat. So we never found the rat. Well, then I didn't find the rat, but we replaced the power cord, and then I put some rat poison in there. And then like 3 months later, I walk in, I was just randomly searching for something else, and there's like a decayed, bony, like it had decayed so far, you couldn't even make out that it was a rat. Really, it was just like bones and like you couldn't see the face or anything.
Just fossils.
So this was right before Halloween, so I grabbed it and I put it in a jar and I filled it with like red liquid and I put it out as our Halloween decoration. So there was a decayed rat out there. It's pretty nasty. Within a couple days, like it had just gotten worse in the water, so I dumped it. It was nasty.
Hey, kudos to you. That's a bold move. But I feel like that's honoring the spirit
Absolutely.
of the rat.
I felt a little bad for
it's like, hey, let me give you one last bit of
poisoning it
fame.
like a little savage, but
Your way out.
look, rats, you can have all the fun you want in the world outside, but you get in my building, you're done.
Yeah, sorry. You're in
Yeah,
my
it's
house
over.
now.
All right, let's hear your rat story.
So I'll give you one quick one. At my mom's house, so we have like in the carport, there's like a storage room. So it's kind of like a separate room of the house, but for storage. And there's like a refrigerator freezer in there. And at one point it started to smell really, really bad and couldn't figure out why. Smelled forever. And then finally tracked it down. Turned out there were like upwards of like 8 to 10 dead mice, like in the bottom of the fridge, like in the, like near the compressor or whatever it is that runs the thing. And it was just, my mom was just pulling them out. Had to use like gloves and like tongs and and then and you're talking about that smell. Like that smell didn't go away for the longest time.
You gotta really clean everything out, and it's just like it's vile.
So bad.
Oh,
my other one. I'll give you a restaurant one. So we're working, and the front doors are open. It's late at night, like we're getting close to closing, and the valet guy had pushed his valet cart into the front of our building because that's where they store it. And he sees a mouse outside. Mouse runs right at him inside, comes inside the building. He moves away. It scurries up the umbrella of the valet cart. And so it's up in there. And it's like, so we closed at, let's say, 10 o'clock. And so it's probably like 9:40 right now. So we still have people in the building and stuff. And all of a sudden there's like 4 of us at the front like, oh my God, what do we do? There's a mouse in the building now. And so it's up there. It's up in the umbrella. And we're like, okay, let's get it out. And then parties start to leave. And so we're all just like, okay, hey, cool, have a good night. Every single one of us is thinking, oh, please just stay up in that umbrella till everybody leaves. Because the last thing we need is that thing to bolt out the front door in front of a party of 6.
Yeah, that's...
So everybody, so it leaves, and the front gets empty, and our busser, just the boldest of all of us, grabs the umbrella, takes it out front, and then just shakes the thing out of it. And then it scurries off somewhere.
Right, you saw it fly out and run off.
Oh yeah, no, we saw. Well, it didn't fly because he had dipped it down and then just shook it, and then it fell a little ways and then bolted.
Oof.
But it was, oh man, it was just to see. We all saw it just run into the building like, no.
Yeah, somehow I've been lucky enough in all the restaurants I've worked, I've never seen a rat at work, which is kind of crazy at a restaurant. You just assume they're around.
Ooh.
Food and stuff.
I forgot about the one on the booth. I saw there was one that was dying on the booth during in the middle of dinner, like 8 o'clock. I walked by a booth and I see something. I'm like, what? And there's a mouse crawling up through the booth. But I guess we had just sprayed the night before, 2 nights before, and so it was dying, but it was escaping from the booth.
Little step by step.
Dead serious. I mean, kudos to the mouse. So I see this, and it happens. Thank God it's at a dirty table. I take the napkin off the table. I throw it on the booth to cover the crawling mouse, and then I go let the boss know right away. I'm like, someone has got to go address that booth right now. I'm like, I'm not sure it's alive or dead. I don't know what's happening. I just know it's under that napkin, and I don't know if it's going to stay there.
Well, at this point with cats who are outside, I get a mouse in the house every 3rd day. It's ridiculous. I let them hunt it down. Every once in a while they'll be dead. If they're still alive, I'll capture it from them and let it out, which it probably has brain damage where it got, it's probably screwed. It's dead either way, but I'll let them out.
Right.
Sometimes if they're gone, I'll put it in a bag and smash it. It's I've dealt with way too many mice in the last 2 years. But a really gross one was my second year. It was probably my 3rd year in college. I was living in a house with a bunch of dudes. There's 4 of us. And hanging from the washing machine, the little ring, was just this little, it looked like a piece of plastic that had fallen off. I never really inspected it. Probably ran, 20, 30, 40 loads in through the washing machine before we realized that we had a mouse infestation. And it was a tail hanging out that had got caught in that plastic ring around the top of the, disgusting. So I was washing all my clothes with this mouse just stuck dead in the dryer, and the little tail was hanging out just right on the top. So nasty. Yeah, that was gross. That house was pretty crazy. It was sat on an 1.5 acres right behind ASU. Amazing house, but just the infestation was unreal. They were everywhere.
And it has in-unit mouse filtered washing.
It's never held colors better. For whatever, just throw a mouse in with your laundry and it holds colors amazing. I don't know what it is. It's a mouse guard.
Brutal. That's funny. I want to put a bow on Ian's. You and I'm so glad that you said the same thing. I swear he was saying Uncle Clark when he said Article Clark.
The first time I heard it, I was like, Uncle Clark. I wrote it down, and I was like, Griswold? Does he have an Uncle Clark Griswold?
I was like, I know he's Australian, but why is he saying that so weird? That's still not Uncle. That still sounds really weird.
Well, that just tells you how good of a story collector and an interviewer that Deb is, that she knew what the listener was going to hear. Got it specified for us. Now there is no question that it was not Uncle Clark Griswold that climbed up into the attic, but in fact an article clerk.
Article clerk, his apprentice, which makes it all the more
so
appropriate.
So good. Big thanks to Ian. Big thanks to Deb, of course. John, who else we got to thank?
Well, let's never forget Jesse.
Well,
of
Jesse
course.
needs to thank me now since I traded him Spencer Ware for Kyle Rudolph. He's going to win this league, and it's going to be because of that trade. You're welcome, Jesse.
I hope he does. I root for Jesse in our fantasy excursions
always,
more than
always.
myself. He's a good pony
Gotta
to
love
back.
Jesse. Gotta love him. John, where can the people find us?
Hold on. I have to give a more somber, not shout out, but a rest in peace. My mom's dog, Champ.
No.
Yeah, he passed away. He was sick, thought he was on the mend. He, in fact, was not.
Poor Champ.
Rest in peace,
How old
buddy. Rest
How
in
old was
peace, Champ.
How long did he live?
She's not 100% sure, but we're thinking 8.
That's still pretty young, but
Yeah, because she took him over. My oldest brother had him originally, and then she adopted him from him, but they weren't positive how old he was when they got him. So but right about 8.
well, rest in peace, Champ. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he was a good buddy.
Never like hearing that.
Nah, but gotta send one out to the
Absolutely.
fella.
This one's for Champ.
This one's for Champ.
All right, John. The people can find us at 86charles.com on the Instagrams, the
Always.
Twitters, at Company Blaster. We're on iTunes. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. And how can they help us? How can the people help us, John?
Well, if you're doing some, let's say, holiday
it's about
shopping,
that time of the year, isn't it?
you're probably going to go. It is that time of the year. You're going to go to Amazon, right? Who doesn't do that? Even I do that, and I'm the least tech-savvy person
There's
maybe
no
ever.
better shopping than on Amazon. It's just so much easier than...
Oh,
not
Amazon's amazing. Amazon's amazing. So you go to 86charles.com. You click on our little Amazon link. Takes you right to the Amazon you know and love. You do the shopping that you're normally going to do, and we get a little
Oh, people are already
kickback.
buying gifts. I mean, if your children are listening, block their ears if you bought a Fisher-Price Brilliant Basics stroller. If you bought the Adora baby doll diaper bag accessory. That's not really a gift, but the Fever Code. Ooh, Maze Runner book series.
I'm like, man, what a square
totally really
parent.
went for it. Lego City Airport.
You carry your
we got
own
a Lego
diapers
City
now,
Airport.
punk.
That sounds awesome. I want the airport.
Yeah, there might be earmuffs required for this. I don't know if we might actually be spoiling
That's
gifts
just what
here.
I said. Earmuffs. Earmuffs.
No, I know, but I just want to reiterate
Yeah,
that.
I guess
People don't take us
maybe
seriously.
we'll bleep it
all the
out.
time.
Just bleep it out in the editing, all right?
All right.
At least
I'll bleep it
the
out.
kids' ones, you know?
That's actually brilliant. We should read all of the
Yeah,
gifts, but
totally.
bleep.
All right, kids, it's time to listen up. We're going to tell you what your parents are buying you on Amazon.com. All right, John, it's that time again. It's time to 86 something.
What am I going to... Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, I got it. I'm going to 86 Thanksgiving.
It's sad when it goes. It was such a good day.
Not only is it gone, but you know what? If we got rid of it altogether, I think I'd be okay
No
with
way.
that.
What's wrong with you? Thanksgiving, there's 3 football games on Thanksgiving.
I'll tell you.
You just sit around and eat all day.
You
You don't have to
no,
worry
I
about
love that.
gifts. It's family and friends. And yeah, no, you're wrong. That's the best holiday of the year.
No, for those that don't work, it's those things. But at its heart, it's evil. I watched the Charlie Brown Coming to America thing. That story is inaccurate. We did not treat the Indians that way.
Oh, what?
That got me really
kidding me?
upset. They portrayed it like, wow,
Charlie
these
Brown
Americans
didn't tell
are
us
really,
the truth?
really
it wasn't
swell people.
factual? No way.
Oh my God, it couldn't be less factual.
That's enough, John. We're not 86 in Thanksgiving. Well, maybe for 2016, but it's going to be back next
I
year.
just did it.
It's back.
It just
Better
happened.
than ever.
The new boy in the neighborhood lives downstairs and it's understood. He's there just to take good care of me, like he's one of the family. Charles in charge of our days and our nights. Charles in charge of our wrongs and our rights. And I see